G7 leaders last night revealed a $600 billion investment plan for the developing world in a stinging rebuke to China's Belt and Road Initiative for global expansion. The £488 billion Partnership for Global Infrastructure, PGII, will go head-to-head with China's multi-trillion-dollar investment plan for scores of low- and middle-income nations. Under Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, Chinese firms are already building roads, bridges and airports in 70 countries where China is seeking greater influence. The pursuit of a new Silk Road trade route between Asia and Europe is the flagship of President Xi Jinping's plans for Chinese expansion. It is made up of a belt of 6 overland corridors that direct trade to and from China and a maritime road of shipping routes and seaports from the South China Sea to the Indian Ocean. Pillars of the BRI already built include freight rail links from Wuhan to Lyon and Chengdu to Prague. Advertisement. And since 2005, China's 3 largest state investment banks have also loaned hundreds of billions of dollars to Latin American countries, funding power stations and dams. In 2018, President Xi announced $60 billion, £48 billion, in funding for development projects in Africa. Announcing his own expansion of the BRI at Davos 5 years ago, President Xi said it was time for China to swim in the vast ocean of the global market. But the BRI has been saddled with claims of corruption, opacity and fraudulent bidding since it was first launched nearly a decade ago. A 2019 study published in Nikkei Asian Review described significant corruption flows within President Xi's plan. Author Jonathan E. Hillman, an advisor to the U.S. State Department, wrote, "By limiting outside scrutiny, the initiative's lack of transparency gives Chinese companies an edge in risky markets, and it allows Beijing to use large projects to exercise political influence." As Chinese companies push deeper into emerging markets, inadequate enforcement and poor business practices are turning the BRI into a global trail of trouble. Mr. Hillman added, "The international community should provide better alternatives to Chinese loans and publicize the perils of opaque approaches to building infrastructure. Leaders in recipient countries must also demand greater transparency, or risk drowning in the BRI's murky waters." Unveiling the West's plan at the G7 summit in Bavaria last night, President Biden said, "I want to be clear. This isn't aid or charity. It's an investment that will deliver returns for everyone." It's a chance for us to share our positive vision for the future and let communities around the world see for themselves the concrete benefits of partnering with democracies. Mr. Biden added, "Because when democracies demonstrate what we can do, all that we have to offer, I have no doubt that we'll win the competition every time." America's contribution to the PGII includes $200 billion, £162 billion, through grants, federal funds and private investment over the next 5 years. The cash will support developing countries in tackling climate change and improving health, gender equality and digital infrastructure, the White House said. Europe will mobilize €300 billion, £258 billion, for the initiative over the same period, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen confirmed. It's unclear exactly how much of the funding will come directly from the UK. Yet China's Belt and Road spending could rise to £975 billion by 2027, according to Morgan Stanley. The Chinese Foreign Ministry hit back at the G7 announcement and defended the BRI. Spokesman Zhao Lijian said, China continues to welcome all initiatives to promote global infrastructure development. We believe that there is no question that various related initiatives will replace each other. We are opposed to pushing forward geopolitical calculations under the pretext of infrastructure construction or smearing the Belt and Road Initiative. Major PGII projects include a $2 billion, £1.62 billion, solar development plan in Angola with support from Washington's Commerce Department, the U.S. Export-Import Bank, U.S. firm Africa Global Schaefer, and U.S. project developer Sun Africa. Together with G7 members and the EU, Washington will also provide millions in technical assistance to Institut Pasteur de Dakar, Senegal as it develops an industrial-scale flexible multi-vaccine manufacturing facility in that country that can eventually produce vaccines against COVID-19 and other illnesses. The U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, will also commit up to $50 million, £40.6 million, over 5 years to the World Bank's Global Child Care Incentive Fund. Friederike Reuter, vice president of the nonprofit group Global Citizen, said the pledges of investment could be a good start toward greater engagement by G7 countries in developing nations and could underpin stronger global growth for all. G7 countries on average provide only 0.32% of their gross national income, less than half of the 0.7% promised in development assistance, she said. But without developing countries, there will be no sustainable recovery of the world economy, she said. Hosting the Interparliamentary Alliance on China at number 10 last March, Boris Johnson said, China has been buying up great chunks of the world, and indebting countries across Africa. We need to give the developing world a choice between their system and ours.